Here are some tips that can help you win a bidding war. Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Mondays. Today we're talking about how hot this market is and how aggressive all these offers are getting, and how can you win a bidding war. To do that, we have with us today the broker owner of the prestigious brokerage of RE/MAX Impact in Oshawa Curtis. We have with us Shah Haider. Shah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on your segment, Omer.
No problem. Shah, as you've seen lately, the market has just exploded.
Oh yeah.
Everything is going crazy, and too many properties are going into multiple offers. They're going over asking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what we're trying to figure out is how can our clients and your clients, how can they win these bidding wars? What do they need to do in order to be able to win these bidding wars?
It's a very important question, and I'm glad that you brought it up because we are dealing with this on a daily basis. My agents and along with their clients are facing a lot of challenges right now. The market has heated up to a point where it is really a seller's market right now. So for buyers, it is utmost important right now to first do a proper research, and that's where their agent comes in, right? Like, you need to know what kind of property that you're buying. You need to know how much maximum that you can buy it for. What is the sale history of that area? Right now, do you know, Omer, that Durham region has seen over 1,400 transactions compared to September last year.
Wow.
That's 20% increase in the sold price compared to September 2019. And you know, Omer, why we are seeing so much pent-up demand? That's basically the banks, and you know that because you deal with that all the time, right? Yeah. Because extremely low borrowing rates from the lenders. Yeah. Pandemic has also played a role. People working from home, they are looking to buy homes with bigger space, backyards, swimming pool and all of that, because the families are spending most of the time at home right now. And Durham region being at such a central place in GTA, and with the overall development that we have seen in Durham region, you know, like brand new GO stations coming up here. 407 has just extended all the way to Highway 115. So all these areas which buyers always overlooked are now within their reach. They want to look at them again now, right? Prices are still very attractive in Durham region. So these are the things that played a role in the kind of appreciation that we are seeing for the Durham region.
I can fully vouch for the fact that interest rates have played a big role in this, right? Since the pandemic, the government has really helped out a lot. So Bank of Canada has used the quantitative easing method of buying back mortgage bonds. And by buying back mortgage bonds, they've provided a ton of liquidity to the market, yep. Right? And that's really what's caused all these interest rates to drop at historical low levels. Shah, we're talking about interest rates as low as 1.6. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've never seen these kind of rates in the last 10 years.
I've never seen it. I remember when I bought my home, my first home, back in 2002, I think my interest rate was 5.8%. And that, like, you know, and I thought at that time that I was lucky to get that rate. But now looking at the rates that buyers can get, like, you know, at 1.6, but like I've seen as low as 1.5. And you know, so obviously all this is just fueling the market. And coming back to your main question, like what we were talking about all this craziness that's happening right now, about the bidding wars and all that. That's why it is so important to do your research, and that's why it's so important to have an agent who knows the area, and basically he's the one who will be driving the whole transaction for their clients, right? So research is the most important thing, first thing. Second is getting the pre-approval, and that's where you guys come in, that's where the banks come in. That just makes things so much easier for everyone, you know, like you cut down half of the time if you are putting an offer on a property without the mortgage condition. And you can only do so if you have a pre-approval.
You need to be pre-approved if you're looking to shop for a house. You need to know your limit. You have to play within it.
Yeah, like keeping your offer as clean as possible, doing the pre-inspection before putting an offer, like doing a home inspection, that eliminates that hurdle as well for buyers, right? And that just puts you in a better spot than your competition who are bidding on the property at the same time with you, your competition, right, as a buyer. So if you have an offer with no mortgage condition, you have done your due diligence, you have pre-inspected the property with the home inspector, you don't have that condition as well. You know what that's going to do? That's going to be better for the sellers, right? Like they will see, okay, this is the buyer who has done their work. Like that shows seriousness. And so keeping your offer as clean as possible is pivotal also.
So if you're keeping your offer as low as possible, make sure you contact one of your mortgage broker or your bank or either us, so we can do the due diligence up front. There are a few things that you have to understand. You may be pre-approved, but you also need to have a budget and plan in mind. Just because the bank is willing to give you X amount of dollars for the mortgage, will you be comfortable paying that amount? So this is very important. Do your due diligence up front. What else do you think is important?
I think the another thing that the buyers should consider doing is putting in the higher deposit right now. So that also shows seriousness and financial stability of the buyer, like how stable they are. It's one thing of winning the bidding war, and then having the ability to close that property. That's so important, right? Like as a seller, would you not want to have this process as seamless as possible?
Absolutely.
So that's why the sellers are looking at these things. They're looking at the financial stability of the buyers that they're going to be dealing with like 2 months down the road, right? They don't want to end up in any surprises. So that's why putting a strong deposit amplifies, like shows that you are stable and shows the seriousness of your offer. So having a good deposit, and also asking your agent to present your deposit with your offer.
Oh yeah, okay, wow.
Right, so because as a brokerage, we've seen so many scenarios, being on the listing side, that agents, that buyers win a bidding war, but then they have 24 hours to furnish the deposit on a normal situations. And then next day they find out, oh, they could not break their RSPs, or the friend that they were borrowing money from, or the family member they were going to borrow the money from, they had some hurdles, so they did not come up with the deposit, and then guess what? The whole deal falls apart, and the seller has to start from all over again, start the bidding war again, and that creates lots of loss and time and efforts and everything. So taking your deposit with the offer is so important.
I couldn't agree more. And guys, make sure you pay attention to this. If you need to liquidate any of your investments, if you have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, RRSPs, and you need that money to be able to use it for a deposit, make sure it's done well in advance. Some banks can take up to 4 to 5 business days in liquidating these investments.
Your RSPs, takes time, right?
It takes time, absolutely.
All of this takes time. You might have money locked up somewhere in investments or stocks or something, so you need to be prepared when you are entering into the bidding situation, right? Another important thing that I'm seeing nowadays, Omer, is to creating that personal connection with the seller. So I'm seeing a lot of agents and buyers now come up with a personal letter to the seller.
Oh wow!
So that has actually worked wonders in so many deals, that showing the seller that, hey, this is a nice young family, first time buyers, small kids, they're making this huge investment in your property, and making that connection, right, with the seller, and they feel for them.
Oh wow!
Hey, we were there 20 years ago, right where they are, the state that they're in. So creating that personal connection is it's works wonders right now. I'm seeing so many of these things happening right now in my brokerage as well. So coming up with a personal letter to the seller, oh man, it goes a long way.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about that. Wow, we're going to ask all of our clients to put letters in their offers from now on. Done.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And then it comes down to your agent's connections. Working with a part-time agent or working with a full-time agent, really makes or breaks the deal here. agent who is a full-time agent who is working with a reputable brokerage like Remax here in Oshawa Curtis, we do 80% of the volume. So we have connection with all of the major listing agents in our market. So an agent, our agent or a Remax agent or any other reputable brokerage which do a lot of volume, when they present or they are representing a buyer, you know, that says that puts lots of weight in your offer as well. The other, you know, the agent might have dealt with that agent numerous times where they have not just sold but closed the property as well. So working with the right agent, that also is a very important thing in winning bidding wars.
I couldn't agree more. A professional real estate agent that knows what they're doing, a full-time agent.
The area, the market, the connections.
Yeah, they understand the value,
Yep.
right? So even a bidding war situation or in a situation where you may be going over asking, they're able to do these CMAs properly and understand the actual value of that property. So your client is not overpaying, and they can kind of see exactly into the future if they'll have any challenges with the mortgage side as well. And that brings me to my last point actually, which is if you're going in firm, make sure you send the listing and the property details to your broker or your bank so they can start their due diligence process on that property right away. Remember, a pre-approval is only for the buyer. The pre-approval only looks at your income and your credit. What it does not look at is the property itself, and that is another thing that the bank underwrites. So you don't want to be in a position where you put a firm offer on a property and later find out that that property is a hobby farm, and most of the banks don't finance a hobby farm. So make sure that you do your due diligence.
Thank you.
Shah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Cheers. We will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and what's the other thing? Share these videos. Spread the wealth. Talk to you soon.